Welcome to Activations with JJ, Ascension Diaries, Part 10. We are here again, you to listen to me ramble about all of the things I've been experiencing, all of my observations, and me to just have a way to use my throat chakra. So thank you very, very much for being willing to co-create this with me. And just kind of get off my chest so many thoughts that I have. I think so many of us really have a desire to share and to open our mouths and to vocalize the things that are going through our mind. So much of what we do is in the energetic, in our, in our minds and our imaginations, not really in our imaginations, but just in our mind's eye. We experience a lot as, say if we're astral traveling or whatever it is we're doing. We don't really have that tangible thing, to really talk about. But here, at least our voices can express what we do. At least mine can, and you can listen, and maybe that empowers you to do the same. That being said, I do want to remind you that we have in just a few days, if you're listening to this at the time I publish it, on the 19th of September at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I am doing a live Zoom gathering. And so what we're doing in the gatherings is we're getting to meet other people who care about the kind of stuff that I have on my channel that most of the world thinks is a little crazy. And we get to really open up about it. Again, I think it's really healing for the throat chakra and all the chakras to gather with people who resonate similar to you, who are on somewhat of the same path that you are. And possibly, I really do feel so many of us that are in the gathering have been drawn together because we have similar roles. That's actually something I want to talk about that in this particular Ascension Diaries episode. So stay tuned for that. Really quickly, you can check out the link in the YouTube video comment section. I've pinned the link to register for our Soul Family Gathering. There's a Spanish Soul Family Gathering the week after that on September 26th. If you're listening to this after the fact, I believe the link will be the same for any upcoming gathering. So if you're worried that gathering isn't going to happen anymore, I'm going to keep updating the comment sections of the YouTube videos with the current link to join my Soul Family Gatherings. Something I will be doing monthly. I'll be doing 2 in English, 1 in Spanish. The format as of right now, we all get to share a little bit. We tell, everybody gets to share who they are, a little bit about what their spiritual journey has been or whatever they feel like sharing. And then I did a group activation and we all just kind of gave our feedback and our input, the things we experienced during the group activation. That's the format we've done. I've only done 1 so far, so I'm just kind of a newbie at this. But the second format I hope to be able to do is a question and answer session where I'll channel one of the energies that I've done here on the podcast and that you all will be able to ask questions. So like if it's the Arcturians, I'll channel the Arcturians and you'll be able to ask specific questions to the Arcturians. I honestly think that's just going to be so fun and I cannot wait for those. So please make sure you get a hold of me. If at, worst case scenario, if you can't find links, just email me activationswithjj@gmail.com and we can get you set up with what you need. So thanks again for being here to co-create. In any way, shape, or form that you're able to do it, I really feel your energy. I honestly do. A lot of people may think that's weird, although this crowd probably doesn't. But I feel and sense the people and the souls who are reaching out and connecting with me through this podcast. And it's lovely. It's just amazing. I can't even define it with words, how it feels. So that being said, we're going to switch gears into our topic for this particular Ascension Diaries. If you haven't listened to the other ones yet, I totally recommend you do. There's some really cool stuff on there about experiences I've had with aliens and just all kinds of weird things that have happened to me, choices I've made due to energetic shifts I've had, ways my life has changed immensely because of that. So please make sure you listen to that. There's a whole playlist of them. So here we are. And I bet you're wondering, what is my topic? It's really hard for me because sometimes I do ramble and go on tangents in these. So before I started this one, I knew there were 2 things I want to talk about. I'm going to say them right now and hopefully I'll stick to it, but we'll see what happens. I never really edit anything out of these. I just blah, and then I just I'm done. So hopefully it's not super hard to track what I'm talking about. The first one is going to be deprogramming. The second one is going to be your role in healing, helping, and activating the collective. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about deprogramming. In a past Ascension Diaries episode, I mentioned my relationship with organized religion. In other words, my opinions, some of my views and experiences with organized religion. Now, I do want to make sure I mention that when I talk about programming, because oftentimes we know about religious programming, it's really obvious. That is one facet of the deprogramming I'm going to talk about. But I also want you to know and understand there's programming happening and coming from all different places, including and not limited to media and education systems, right? Educational systems. So when I talk about programming, I might use a little bit more of my personal framework, which was a pretty religious background. But I do want you to know that even if you didn't grow up in organized religion, there's probably some programming that has occurred. And just living in this simulation, that's what I like to call this. Living in this simulation, you've learned the rules, and that's how you've gotten where you are, because you've learned the rules of this simulation. That's the program. We are shifting, however. And something came to me the other day as I was having a session with someone. And by the way, if you feel drawn to do a session with me, I still do one-on-one sessions. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do that with my schedule, but I do them a few a week. And so if you want to get on my schedule, please feel free to reach out. Anyhow, I was doing this session and it came out. This person I have actually worked with for a couple years. And I've worked with them. I probably had over 30 sessions with them. And so it was interesting to me that this came out after having done so much work with this person. But what came out was there were lingering pieces and parts of cultural programming. It was, in her case, it was religious programming that were still affecting her. And so I kind of asked Spirit. I was like, okay, I know I've worked with her so much. You know, and I've done other kinds of, when I talk about releasing subconscious programming, the way that I do it, some of what I do is what you could consider cognitive behavioral. It's not therapy, but it's just a conscious shift, right? It's like I say to a person, listen, I sense that you have a subconscious program running in your mind, running in you, that says that it's not safe to follow your intuition. Okay? So when I have people that come up with that and I can tap into that energy, sometimes normally they don't say it, right? I'm just reading it off of their energy. I kind of speak telepathically with people, I think, is what I really feel I'm doing. And that's definitely something the new earth is going to have, lots of telepathy. So I felt this coming from her. It was a subconscious program, and I immediately knew it was religious based, I guess you could say. But thinking about that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter exactly what religion or what it was. It was just a program that was running that was not serving her any longer. And it was related to using her personal power. Think about that for a moment. Normally with organizations, whether they be government, religions, economics, whatever it is, this simulation in the past has required a lot, not required, but encouraged a lot of us giving up our power to someone else. Okay? Think about that for just a second. In what we think, in what we do, in what we eat, in what we wear, we are subtly being influenced. I think most everybody who understands psychology and like subliminal messaging knows this, right? That's what advertising does. However, there are codes and programming that we can deprogram and that we can change to a program or a code that will serve us better as we step into this new earth. So I'm sure some of you wonder, How do I do that? There's lots of different ways you can do it. The example I just gave is that I was in a session with somebody, right? Like you can go see somebody who's like an energy worker of some kind, anybody who you feel is like an intuitive coach, right? That you trust and that you feel that you resonate with. That's one way. I've talked about this before in my podcast about there's many, many ways to activate, to deprogram. But what I'm sensing is that we need to be more intentional with our deprogramming of this cultural stuff. Are you intentionally deprogramming from that? Think about it for just a moment. How intentional are you at it? Do you know what those programs are? Or do you run away from them because you're scared? Which is what I feel a lot of us do when it comes to shadow work, healing, all of that stuff. Sometimes we run away. We run away. And that's okay. Our time will come at the right time as far as doing this deprogramming. Here's a message I got from Spirit. It's an unraveling of a very complex knitted system. I want you to imagine a knitted sweater, and one string on it. And I want you to imagine in your mind pulling that string out. Just pulling that string out, you might get that first link, and I can't remember the exact word because I'm not a knitter. There's a word for it, loop. Pulling that first loop out. Well, guess what? There's still more where that came from. So continuing to be pulling at those. But see, you can't pull the 40-second loop until you get to the 40-second loop, right? If you're pulling that one thread, you can't go 42 down the road. You have to do the first one, then the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. I think that's really what they're trying to tell me, is for those who are listening to this, if you're drawn to listen to this, there's a reason. There is some programming that you need to slowly be undoing. And I don't even mean to say you can do it fast if you want. It's whatever you want to create, right? You have the ability to manifest whatever you want. You could do some huge energetic thing and unravel like 40 at a time. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. But there's people here, I feel like it's going to get faster and faster. Do you want to know why? It has to do with my next topic for this Ascension Diaries. Okay. So I mentioned to you my next topic was doing work on behalf of the collective. You, if you're listening, I 100% believe you are a way shower. And you don't have to be talking about things to be a way shower. You can just be living your life, doing your own deprogramming, undoing that programming. And in undoing programming, this is where some of my meditations come in, like my Arcturian ones that I've been doing lately. You gotta reprogram. Okay? I mean, you can reprogram in nature. Nature is an amazing way to reprogram. So when you deprogram, I want you to pay attention to how you are reprogramming. What program are you then now going to run? Anyhow, sorry, I just had to go on that tangent. But those of you who are choosing to reprogram, you are, and I can't, honestly, when I see things like in my mind or spirit tells me things or whatever energy I'm channeling tells me things, I don't always have total details, so I really, really apologize that I don't have exact words or definitions, or I can't really, it's very kind of cloudy for me, but here's what I kind of feel. That some of what you are feeling right now, physically, mostly physically, is because you have consented to process for the collective. Also, some of your mood swings, I feel a lot of people are having these mood swings and they're shaming themselves for like maybe being anger, lashing out, sadness, like super depressed, whatever it is. You are processing on behalf of the collective. And here's what I learned this week. Can I tell you something I learned this week? Because we're all in the same boat. Like, I don't see myself above you. We're all equals. We're all playing this role. And if you were drawn to this podcast, we're doing the same thing. Okay? We're a team. I had Spirit say to me, you are not releasing, you are transmuting. You are transmuting. There was a lot where I think if you feel an energetic block in your body, I don't know, I'm sure all of you have. I've been feeling tons of energetic heaviness on different parts of my body. And I was being very self-aware because sometimes I just ignore it. I'm a regular person. Sometimes I just ignore it. But I was in a very aware moment and I said, okay, what do I do with this? And it was like, you're transmuting. You're not releasing. You're actually changing this. And on behalf of the collective, integrating it back into you. It was a little bit strange of a concept for me, but I kind of got it. It's like everything that we go through, all the energy shifts, all the bad and the good that the collective goes through is not to be felt and released. It's to be felt and transmuted in order to shift to a higher density. You must keep the lessons, I guess you could say. You could call them lessons. Well, let's call them lessons. The experiences, maybe that's a better word. All of them. The good, the bad, and the ugly. They're not to be released, and you're not supposed to have amnesia. Expansion is knowledge, right? Experience. The more experience you have, the more you expand. And it's not just limited to high vibration experiences. It also includes low vibration experiences. However, the way that I've been taught is that when you have a low vibration experience, so say the collective has a low vibration experience, they can possibly get stuck in a loop, okay? Because actually Ascension is a spiral, if you've ever heard that. Ascension is a spiral. When I want to say stuck either because I feel like that's what they want to do. So the collective is in a loop. It's like a cycle, right? It just keeps going in the same, you're stuck, kind of. I'm still going to use that word. It's the only thing I can think of. However, those of us who are way showers and who are doing work on behalf of the collective, it is our job to transmute. And when we transmute this collective energy, whether or not you even know what the heck you're doing. Because for me, it was like, I had a stomach ache. What do? I have a neck ache. What do? It was like, oh, you're transmuting energy for the collective. I didn't even ask like, what part of the collective experience is this related to? I did not ask that. I just did it without asking. So you don't have to know all the information to say, I'm willing to transmute it. It's all about free will. So when you do that, the spiral is allowed to continue. And as you know, the spiral goes up. I mean, just picture it in your mind. It's really hard for me because I'm kind of drawing it in the air for you. It's not really working because there's no video. But this spiral continues to ascend, right? That's why we talk about ascension. So the lesson in this, there's a couple things I think that are takeaways regarding the stuff that I've shared. One is that pay attention to programming. When you deprogram yourself, you're also deprogramming the collective. And then this is all related. And I can't really, right now, I'm not going to put the puzzle pieces together for you. I'll be completely honest. I feel like I've shared these two things separately, a little bit linked, right? I'm trying to link them. But I feel Spirit's like, nope, let them figure it out. Like, let's all interpret that the way we need to. Let's apply it to our lives and our experiences the way we need to, because it's going to be a little bit individualized for you. But overall, those concepts will apply to every single person who listens to this. If you pushed the play button, there is no escaping. You are playing this role, and you needed to hear that. And you needed to know that some of the crap and the junk that you're going through, that's what we call it in 3D. It's just expansion in lower vibrations. Whatever you're feeling, yuckiness, whatever it is part of you helping transmute some stuff that the collective needs to transmute in order to ascend. Period. The end. That's it. I hope I didn't ramble too much this time. But I really appreciate you sticking with me and listening to this entire episode. Again, it's always a pleasure to be able to use my throat chakra and talk to you about all these things I have going on in my brain. Please, please, please reach out through the link. Join us for the Soul Family gatherings coming up. Make sure you leave a comment if what I said resonated with you. And lastly, the divinity within me honors the divinity within you. Namaste.